Greetings, super friends. Jonathan Levy here, and today we have a very special interview with just an incredible student. His name is Wesley. You guys might know Wesley from the Facebook group where he shared a very impassioned story of his own struggle. Wesley is someone who was dealing with drug addiction and had dropped out of school. And because he discovered the SuperLearner program on his journey of self-improvement, he was able to read so many self-help books. You'll see them in the interview. He was able to absorb so much information, and he was actually able to go back to school and get his degree simply because he was able to learn more effectively. You know, we always say, and we always talk about how learning is the only skill that matters. If you're able to learn more effectively, you can do anything, you can overcome any challenge. And I have to say, Wesley is such an inspirational testament to that fact. I was deeply moved by his story. I know you guys are going to be as well. And in addition to all of that, Wesley has some incredibly powerful tips and reminders as to the most important things that you can do as a student to succeed in this course. So I know you guys are going to love this interview. I loved producing it for you. I loved talking to Wesley and just learning about his journey. So without any further ado, let me guys introduce you to Wesley. Wesley, my friend, welcome. Thank you so much for making the time to talk to me today.
Thank you, Jonathan, for your time, for having me today. And let's rock.
Awesome. So, Wesley, your story was so inspiring on the Facebook group, not just to me, but I think to so many people in the SuperLearner community. Tell me a little bit about what's been going on, how you found us, and where you were when you found the SuperLearner course.
Well, it was really, as you read the story, it was pretty crazy. You know, I just broke up with my girlfriend, and I decided to improve myself. I saw that there were different aspects in my life that I had to improve upon. And I read this book, The One Thing, and while reading this book, you might know, right? The Gary Keller. It's an amazing book, by the way. And it said, what's the one thing I can do, such as by doing it, will improve everything. And looking back at my life and doing some reflection, I discovered that my memory was pretty low, you know, because all of the drugs and partying and alcohol, your brain just cannot really work with that. And I stumbled across your advertisement on YouTube from the guy with I don't know his name, but it was pretty
Nelson Dellis.
Yeah, that one. And he said, do you want to improve your memory? You know how it goes. And I thought, yeah, definitely. That's actually my one thing. So I waited for like 1 month so that I could get the money all humped up. And I started, man. And yeah, it's just so amazing.
That's awesome.
That the impact it had in my life, you know.
I'm so grateful to have been part of your journey. And I understand at that point you were just wrapping up your degree, but you weren't in a good position academically.
No, not really. Not really. I was like, it's pretty funny though that I was reading that article, the big one, like what is the difference between working memory, short-term memory, and long-term memory. And after reading that one and applying different techniques for my whole life, I actually decided to quit school, to drop out.
Wow. And
I did, actually. I did, because I thought the school system is built to actually decrease, in my idea, you know, in my opinion that time, it is built to actually decrease our ability to learn and to enjoy the learning process. And I was angry at school and at myself that I chose to go to school. It was pretty crazy. So I decided to quit. I called school, hey, I'm 20 years old. I can quit if I want. So I quit it. And a few weeks went by. I was like coping with the addictions that I talked about a bit, coping with depression, overeating, a lot of things. And my mom, my family were pushing me, come on, you got to finish school. You got to do it. You're going to regret it afterwards. So I decided 1 week before, that's why I said I had to read all of the books in 1 week. Was 1 week before the exams, I decided, all right, let's do it. So I called school again.
So you quit school before you discovered the course, and the course is what allowed you to come back and be like, all right, fine, I'm gonna get this degree.
It was like I did the course, and then I quit school because
I see.
How do you say it? The awakening. I really was teaching because
Mm.
of the course. And yeah,
Wow.
it's crazy. I know. And like before, 1 week before the exams, I decided I'm going to start again. And applied all of the memory techniques. Like I use stars, you know. Since a little kid, I have always had this passion towards stars and galaxies and planets. So I used that to create connections with the learning process, and it was pretty amazing.
What exams were you dealing with?
Like Dutch, that one really struggle with the language.
Right, because Dutch isn't your native language, right?
No, isn't it? Isn't. It's
So you were doing all these tests in your third language.
yeah, my third language because
Wow.
Brazilian Portuguese is my first one, then English through games. You know, you learn a lot through games,
Of course.
and my third one is Dutch. And right now
Wow.
I'm to am I inspired by you, by the way, to learn Spanish
Oh,
and maybe
cool.
Germany and so on. How are you doing, by the way, with Spanish?
My Spanish is really good. I learned Spanish the hard way, and that's why it took me 6 years through middle school and high school. The really, really hard way, and that's why I didn't learn another language for so many years. And then after discovering SuperLearner, I was like, wait a minute, I can learn languages way faster. And so my Russian I put on hold because I kind of got obsessed with piano and acro yoga. But learning Russian, I learned as much Russian in 3 months as I learned in 2 years of Spanish class in school. You know, and my Russian's still like I speak like a 4-year-old, but it's amazing how much faster you can learn. So you
Definitely,
go into
definitely.
these exams, and you told the story. I still have the visual marker of you sitting in a room with 100 stressed students, and you're sitting there kind of like laughing. And everyone's like, "Who the hell is this guy? He hasn't ever been to class." I think everyone wants to know how the exams go.
Well, they went pretty well. There was literally one exam I slept over the time, so it was I had 50 minutes to be in class, and I had to bike around to the school, and I was like 10 minutes late, but I was one of the first guys that was ready just because of the memory. I was like laughing so loud, man. It was crazy. Afterwards, it was funny. I was doing the MAV's Maatschappij en Wetenschap. It's like society and how do you say it? Physics, something like that. And I was laughing all the time again. And by the time I was done. I walked up to the teacher, gave the exam, and he said, "Why are you laughing all the time? You gotta be more serious doing this, man. This is not the way it works." And I said, "Why not? Why can't learning be fun?" And I said that, and he was like, I actually put him to think, and I thought, that's awesome.
He's like, grading your exam is going to be fun.
Yeah,
So it went
definitely.
well. What I guess I have a real important question for you for everyone else out there listening, which is what do you think made you so successful in the course? Because as you said, you went through the course very quickly in kind of a very stressed, pressured environment, and yet you were able to get a lot out of it. So what would you recommend for other students who are taking the course who want to achieve your level of success and get your level of impact from the course?
Definitely use all of your emotions into it.
Mm,
As you know that dual encoding.
yeah.
Using your emotions is the best way, man, literally. And try to create connections,
Hmm.
a lot of it, and not only with the course, but with everything around. Cars passing by, cats, birds, the wind,
Mm,
everything you hear. Try to create those
I
connections.
love this.
That's also something that I picked up from The Art of Learning,
Yeah.
from Joshua. That book also helped a lot.
Hmm.
And what I find interesting is that when you go through the course, the main thing that helps a lot is try to take different, how do you say it, information from different
Yeah. Brute
sources.
force
The
learning, we
brute of
call it.
force.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That helps and create markers a
Yeah.
lot.
Now, did you organize when you were studying for a kind of a structured thing like an exam? Were you also using memory palaces, or were you able to just create the markers, link them together, and use that?
Well, it definitely became subconscious
Yeah.
afterwards. I just like, but I do use a memory palette. I got like my town here. Let me say, here's the town, and it's flat 2D, and I got like a pyramid on it. It's a 3D pyramid, and I got like different sections on the pyramids with different markers, which are connected to different places. And those places, it's like, you understand, you got it.
Yeah, this is a theme that comes up a lot every single time I talk to a student, and I've done maybe 8 or 9 of these interviews so far, and if someone were to ask me, everyone's different tips are, based on their own, what they're learning. Everyone takes something different away. For you, it was emotions. For someone else, it was memory palaces. But the number one thing, if someone were to ask, what does every student have in common that succeeds in the course? There's one thing that all of the students I've interviewed said, and that is they customize the techniques. They don't just take it from the course the way I teach it and use it. They actually say, okay, well, I want to make a pyramid, a 3D map, because the 2D isn't working for me as well. Or, they organize memory palaces in a different way. So it seems to me, what I've learned from doing these interviews is the number one success metric is, are you customizing the techniques to make them your own?
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Definitely, 100%.
Amazing. So I got to know now, Wesley, where are you now? What are you doing? You finished school, I guess.
Yeah. I took like a gap year. Right now I'm on my last habit that I gotta quit, and that's smoking.
Oh, good one.
Yeah, but it's hard, man. It's a little more complex than smoking pot and weed and drinking and partying. It's pretty complex because I grew up around a lot of smoking. So it's the roots like much deeper. It's a lot even more healing that's coming around. It's what you doing?
I have a book recommendation for that, which is Charles Duhigg wrote a book called The Power of Habit that I really love.
Yeah.
It's the only book, and I don't stick to it as well as I should. You have it right behind you.
Do you see it? Or is it?
Oh my God, you have so many books you're reading through.
This one.
Yeah, it's good.
This one
It's
changed my
amazing.
life. Yeah, definitely.
That's a hell of a reading list behind you. Are those books that you've already finished or that you're about to finish?
Well, I don't really read a book from start to finish. I open it, I pre-read a little bit, then I go, which chapter we have the most impact, then I read that, then I connect with other books. And right now I'm reading this one, you might know, Anxious.
I don't know it.
This one I highly recommend it. You are going to love it, I think. It's called Most Focus on the Amygdala, the part of your brain, and how it interferes with decision making and things like that. It's pretty amazing. And you can actually apply that into quitting habits if you combine with the power of habits.
I like it.
And yeah,
this is brilliant, and I love the way that you're applying brute force learning also in a way that I never thought about, which is, why read a book sequentially? You're jumping around, you're learning, you're doing what most people would think is a bad learning habit, which is jumping around, learning different things, kind of like doing the buffet style. But what we learn in the course is this is actually one of the most effective things you can do is just diversify your learning stimulus. I love it. Yeah. So what's next after this gap year? Obviously, you have some goals of getting healthy. I have to say you look really healthy, really happy. Exactly. But what's next after the gap year?
After the gap year, I am going to study, going to do college. It's called Sport Management and Ondernemen. It's 4 years, but I'm thinking maybe it is possible to do in 2 years because I read pretty fast right now.
Wow. So you went from hating school to now you want to go back and get a degree. It's amazing.
Thanks to you, man. Thanks to you. You know it.
It's amazing. Well, I mean, you clearly did the work here and you've done an amazing job applying the techniques. And, I wish every student had your passion and enthusiasm for applying the stuff rather than, watching the videos and going, yeah, I get it. But that's the name of the game is, are you applying it?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Wesley, any other tips you'd want to give to other students that has helped you along the way?
Talk about it. But don't talk about the mind palaces and the way you memorize, the stories, because people can look at you, right? What are you talking about? Are you crazy or something? Sometimes I try to explain to people, I used to work at a restaurant and they got different people all over Europe, They come here and they're trying to learn the language. So I say, all right, what do you see in this word? And they say a lion. Then picture a lion on this table and connect, just the connections. But then they would look at me like, what are you talking about? Are you crazy or something? And I realized that gave me a little bit of a resistance towards am I doing the right thing? Those thoughts that keep coming back in your mind. So that's one tip. I definitely encourage people to do from different sources. That helps a lot. And talking to yourself in the mirror.
Positive psychology.
That's
what's it called? Affirmations.
Not only affirmations, because I remember for the Derek Riddle, Derek Wesley, right? Derek Riddle, the podcast episode was like 87. They say that affirmations, you're actually putting yourself in a place of lackness and something like that. And I say, all right, let me try it. So instead of affirmations, I'm just putting all of my thoughts, everything I think about myself, about others, I'm just talking about it, just releasing it. And then afterwards, I will write down the reactions that my brain creates and then analyze it afterwards. Just a whole process. That helps a lot too, because then you can apply the memory techniques to see where is it coming from and why am I doing what I'm doing.
I love it. Wesley, I want to thank you again, man, just for sharing your story with us and also for your dedication to the course. It's completely inspiring to me. I can't tell you just how much energy it gives everyone at our team, on our team, and also obviously that you're willing to share this story with other students. I really appreciate the vulnerability and the openness.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, my friend. Take care.
Thanks. Peace out.
What an incredible story. I hope you guys were as inspired as I was. And if you guys have been inspired and want to learn more and figure out how you too can take advantage of the SuperLearner methodology to make personal transformations in your life, I want to encourage you guys to check out a free 1-hour training seminar with yours truly, where you can learn all the basic tips to get yourself up to SuperLearner level. You can check it out right below and claim your spot. Thank you guys for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe.